Good afternoon. This is the Midday News on Rajya TV. I'm Ashwarya with you. All the developing news stories at the top of one. Coming up ahead, first up a look at the top headlines. India's Deputy High Commissioner to Pakistan, Gaurav Ahluwalia, meets Kulbhushan Jadhav after India accepts Pakistan's offer of consular access to the detained former Navy officer. New Delhi asserts consular access must be unimpeded. Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh strongly objects to Pakistan's attempts to raise Kashmir issue at the South Asian Speakers Summit in Maldives. Asserts Kashmir is India's internal issue. Says Pakistan has no moral right to speak on human rights after perpetrating genocide in Bangladesh. India hosts 14th Conference of Parties for the first time. 196 countries with over 3,000 delegates likely to participate. COP14 to focus on desertification and degradation of land. India to improve nearly 50 lakh hectares of degraded land in the next 10 years. Six days to landing. Chandrayaan-2 completes the first lunar orbit, final lunar orbit maneuver. Separation of lander Vikram scheduled this afternoon. Lander to travel towards lunar surface after the separation. And the chants of Ganpati Bappa Moria ring across the country on Ganesh Chaturthi. 10-day festival celebrates the birth of Lord Ganesh. President, Vice President, Prime Minister extend good wishes to the people. Our top stories from Pakistan. India has accepted Pakistan's offer to grant consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav. Chargé d'affaires at the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. Gaurav Ahluwalia met Kulbhushan Jadhav in Islamabad today. Remember, India has expressed hope that Pakistan will ensure the right atmosphere for a free, fair, meaningful and effective meeting in keeping with the letter and spirit of the ICJ order. In an announcement on Sunday, Pakistan's Foreign Office had said that it will grant consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav on Monday in line with the Vienna Convention, the judgment of the International Court of Justice and laws of Pakistan. India had also asked for an unimpeded consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav. Remember, in its verdict in the case on 17th of July, the ICJ had ordered Pakistan to review Jadhav's sentence and conviction and grant consular access to him without further delay. All right, our colleague Akhilesh Suman is tracking all those developments very, very closely. A very good afternoon, Akhilesh. We understand that Kulbhushan Jadhav was today allowed a meeting with the Indian High official for the first time today after the ICJ ordered, Islamabad to give India consular access to him and also review his death sentence. What more details you have about this meeting that is on in Islamabad at the moment?
This meeting is going to last for almost 2 hours because Pakistan has given 2 hours consular access to Indian official. And that one of the major things that has to be checked in this meeting is the medical situation of Mr. Jadhav and also his mental and physical condition, and also that in what situation he was there from where Pakistani officials or security forces have captured him and taken to Pakistan. So, that 2 hours, in 2 hours time, Indian official has to finish all the inquiries, and that will be basically the basic inquiries about Kulbhushan Jadhav. So, this is happening at a place not properly disclosed, though Mr. Ahluwalia had reached Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan, and from there he has been taken to some place. So, it is not very far from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but the location is not disclosed. So, it is going to be the first official touch with India, though Mr. Kulbhushan Jadhav had met his mother and his wife earlier. but that India had protested that the way the mother and wife were treated was not proper. It was uncivilized because some of the stuff from the from both the ladies were taken away and they had been given new dresses. So I think it was not expected, this type of behavior. But anyway, today when Mr. Ahluwalia is meeting Mr. Jadhav, I think he will have a broad picture of how Mr. Jadhav's situation was and what has he shared with the Pakistani officials and what type of legal assistance can be provided to him. So I think it's a very tedious job and it's a very difficult job given the fact that Mr. Jadhav was in captivity. He will be in captivity after also this meeting. So how far he is going to reveal his whole situation because he is under constant intimidation, constant pressure from Pakistani security forces, and that Pakistani military judiciary has declared him as a terrorist. So he is very in a way that he is very much precious for Pakistan and he is very precious for India also because he is our Indian citizen. He is retired from Navy and he was doing his own business, and in that condition Pakistan is trying to use that gentleman as a tool of diplomacy to pressurize India and put India in bad image. So I think it's a very difficult task today, but let us see that how our diplomats get the information from Mr. Jadhav, and we have to proceed further in that way that he has to be provided legal assistance, and I think that legal assistance has to be taken from Pakistan itself. So I think it is going to be a very, very interesting moment that how the two countries are at loggerheads on this issue and how they proceed further, given the fact that ICJ has given this verdict that you have to give
and
this.
That meeting is going to be continuing for 2 hours, and we have to wait and watch. Probably there will be a statement after that meeting from the MEA. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those updates on that big story. And angered by the forceful conversion of Sikh girls in Pakistan, the members of the Sikh community today led a protest from Teen Murti Marg to Pakistan Embassy. Protesting in front of the Pakistani Embassy in New Delhi, they said that minorities are being ill-treated in Pakistan, and they also demanded security for the minorities in that country. Earlier on Sunday, the Ministry of External Affairs had expressed strong concern over the incident and asked Pakistan to take remedial action to stop such cases. A Sikh girl, daughter of a Gurudwara priest, was abducted and converted to Islam in Pakistan's Punjab province. And India thwarted another attempt by Pakistan to raise Kashmir issue on global stage. The two sides had a heated exchange during the South Asian Speakers Summit in Maldives. As Pakistan's Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Qasim Suri, tried to raise the Kashmir issue during the discussion on Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. Now, India immediately raised a point of order, after which the presiding officer asked Suri to let the Indian representative Harivansh to speak. And in a strong response, Harivansh hit out at Pakistan for raising India's internal issue and the politicization of the forum.
This point of order relates to the statement given by here. Excellency, we strongly object to the raising of internal matter of India in this forum. We also reject the politicization of this forum by raising issues which are extraneous to the theme of this summit. There is need for Pakistan to end cross-border terrorism and all kinds of state support to the same in the interest of regional peace and stability. Excellencies, terrorism is the biggest threat for entire humanity and the world today. Therefore, unanimously we should not allow in this August gathering any kind of written view to become part of the proceeding. Again, Sir, Excellency Speaker Mohammad Nasir Sahab, Maldives Majlis, and Excellency and Secretary General IPU, Mr. Martin, yours repeatedly and categorical statement that this forum or summit is only meant to discuss SDG, this should not be the part of proceedings, sir. I strongly object to be deleted this part.
And Harivansh also told Pakistan to end all state support to terrorism, saying that terrorism is the biggest threat to the humanity. Raising a point of order again, Harivansh said that a country that perpetrated a genocide in part of their own country, which later became Bangladesh, has no moral right to speak on the human rights issue. He said that Pakistan illegally occupied a part of Kashmir through armed action in 1947. He stated that the so-called Azad Kashmir has been given the trappings of a country with a president, a prime minister and a legislature of its own. But the so-called AJK is neither a country nor a province after the Karachi Agreement of 1949.
The country which does itself in a genocide of its own country, which became a separate country, has moral right to raise this issue here. Let me clarify, sir.
No Pakistan occupied
Jammu and Kashmir, which is part of India. Pakistan had illegally occupied through armed action in 1947. Pakistan has kept the people of this region guessing on their status as a constitutional entity. The so-called AJK is unique. It has been given the trappings of a country with a president, a prime minister and a legislature. But the so-called AKJ is neither a country nor a province. The Karachi Agreement of
India,
please stick to your point of order without going to the substance of the matter.
95% of the land is strategically important for its connectivity with China. Deputy Speaker. This meeting is for SDG only. Nothing should be on the record. Otherwise.
And Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla addressed the plenary session of the 4th South Asian Speaker Summit a short while back, and he thanked the Speaker of the Maldives Majlis, that is Parliament, Mohammad Nasheed, and the Maldivian government for hosting the summit. Speaking at the event, Om Birla said that India fully understands the importance of sustainable development goals, or the SDGs. He said that the Indian Parliament is playing an important role in garnering consensus on various issues pertaining to the SDGs and in also framing policy along with monitoring the progress of the SDGs related program run by the government. He said that India played a very important role in promoting renewable energy in the world by forming the International Solar Alliance along with France and 121 other countries. He also informed the speakers of the South Asian countries of India's programs related to climate change. And the 14th Conference of Parties, that is the COP14, to the UN Convention to combat desertification has begun at Greater Noida. Now, this is for the first time that India is hosting the 14th Conference of Parties, or the COP14. Over 3,000 delegates from 196 countries are likely to attend the session. COP14 will go on till 13th of this month. The conference, being organized by the UN Convention to Combat Desertification, will be inaugurated by Union Minister Prakash Javadekar and UN CCD Executive Secretary Ibrahim Theo. The theme of this COP14 is Investing in the Land, Unlocking Opportunities. Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change Prakash Javadekar had earlier this week highlighted India's resolve to combat desertification. The minister had said that India will convert a degraded land of nearly 50 lakh hectares to fertile land in the next 10 years, saying that it is the common resolve of the world to combat desertification. Javadekar asserted that India will lead from the front and move the world in a positive direction. The convention entered into force in December 1996. India became a signatory to the UNCCD on 14th of October 1994 and ratified it on 17th of December 1996. The main objective of the convention is to combat desertification and mitigate the effects of drought in the countries that are experiencing serious drought or desertification. On to some other news now. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is in Japan today as part of his 5-day visit to Japan and South Korea. Arriving in Tokyo, Rajnath Singh laid a wreath today at the Self-Defense Force Memorial in Tokyo. He was also awarded a Guard of Honor. Rajnath Singh held extensive talks with his Japanese counterpart Takeshi Iwaya, and he also chaired the annual Defence Ministerial Dialogue with him. The ministerial dialogue aims to further strengthen India-Japan special strategic and global partnership. He also he will actually meet Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe during the visit. During the second leg of his tour, Defence Minister will visit South Korea on 5th of September. He will also hold a bilateral dialogue with his South Korean counterpart and will also call upon South Korean Prime Minister Lee Nak-yeon.
हमारे दोनों देशों की नेवीज के बीच नए स्ट्रेटेजिक डेप्थ के समझौते पर हस्ताक्षर करने के साथ-साथ 2+2 फॉरेन एंड डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्रियल डायलॉग और बायलैटरल एक्विजिशन और क्रॉस सर्विसिंग एग्रीमेंट पर वार्ता शुरू करने के लिए पिछले एनुअल समिट के दौरान हमारे दोनों देशों के प्रधानमंत्रियों द्वारा किए गए निर्णयों ने हमारे डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन को नई स्ट्रेटेजिक डेप्थ प्रदान की है.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has assured the bank employees that not even one person will lose their job following the merger of the public sector banks. The Finance Minister allayed the fears of job losses following the government's mega plan to merge 10 public sector banks into 4 in a bid to boost the economy, saying that there would not be any closure of banks.
Every union in every one of these banks to please recall what I have said last Friday. When we spoke about the amalgamation of banks, each time I have, as I'm talking about one set of amalgamation, second set of, like that I've spoken about 4 sets of amalgamation. I have very clearly underlined the fact that there shall not be one employee removed, not at all. We are not looking at any employee being removed. And that is also proven by the fact earlier we had done about 2 years ago SBI with all its groups. This year, early this year, sometime in February, March, probably before April, Bank of Baroda with 2 other banks. Has there been even one retrenchment, please? No. None of them had, and I've made it a point to make it as a specific announcement, even last Friday, that there shall not be a removal from job of even 1%. I want 1%. I'm taking this opportunity to reiterate, and therefore they need not have any concern on that score.
And addressing the officers of Customs, GST and Income Tax Department, the Finance Minister said that the government's efforts to promote electric vehicles should not be seen as promoting electric vehicles at the expense of others. She also said that the decision on reducing GST on automobiles was not entirely in her hands, as matters of indirect taxation were now entrusted to the GST Council. She also said that the government was responding to the concerns of the industry in a sectorial manner.
I'm meeting with industries and taking their inputs and industries' suggestions on what they would want and what they expect from the Government of India. I'm responding to them. I've already done twice. I will do more number of times so that every industry which has approached me, I will respond.
Big story from Assam. The Ministry of External Affairs has clarified that people left out of the National Register of Citizens for Assam are not stateless. The MEA said that they will continue to enjoy all the rights as before till they exhaust all legal remedies. MEA spokesperson Ravish Kumar said that the Assam government was establishing 200 more tribunals in addition to the existing 100 to expedite the process of receiving applications for inclusion. He also said that the government will even assist in providing directions on how to deal with such appeals. MEA spokesperson Ravish Kumar also said that the NRC is a court-mandated and monitored exercise and not an executive-driven process. Remember, out of 3.3 crore applicants, over 19 lakh people were excluded from the final NRC that was published on Saturday.
Exclusion from the NRC has no implication on the rights of an individual resident in Assam. For those who are not in the final list will not be detained and will continue to enjoy all the rights as before till they have exhausted all the remedies available under the law. It does not make the excluded person stateless. It also does not make him or her a foreigner within the legal meaning of the term. They will not be deprived of any rights or entitlements which they have enjoyed before. The Government of India will even assist in providing directions on how to deal with such appeals. Through the district legal service authorities, the government has provisioned to extend legal aid to the needy. The state of Assam has assured provision of free legal assistance to any person excluded from the list and who is unable to afford such legal assistance. This is to enable people, especially the disadvantaged sections, to have access to the best possible legal assistance.
Former Union Finance Minister P. Chidambaram will be produced before the Supreme Court today as his CBI custody is set to end today. The top court will also hear the senior Congress leader's plea challenging the special CBI court's order to remand him to custody. Earlier during the hearing on Friday, Chidambaram had told the court that the CBI had failed to show him any document establishing his involvement in the money laundering case so far. The CBI court, however, extended the custody of former Union Finance Minister in the INX media case till Monday. Remember, in 2017, the CBI had registered a case of financial irregularities worth 305 crore rupees in the FIPB clearance given to the INX media in 2007 when P. Chidambaram was the country's finance minister. And following the FIR filed by the CBI, the Enforcement Directorate had also filed a case of money laundering against him. And on to the other big story that we are tracking today. The stage is all set for the crucial separation of lander Vikram from Chandrayaan to orbiter today afternoon. According to ISRO, the separation is scheduled between 12:45 p.m. and 1:45 p.m. And the separation will allow the lander to travel towards the lunar surface, leaving the orbiter to continue to revolve around the moon. Remember, on Sunday evening, ISRO had successfully carried out fifth and final orbit maneuver of Chandrayaan-2 to refine its circular path around the moon. The composite Chandrayaan-2 has the orbiter, the lander and the rover. And the mission of the lander is to soft land on the south lunar pole and to safely unleash the rover. On to some international news now. News from Hong Kong, where pro-democracy demonstrators have disrupted public transport, and also students took part in citywide protests across the country as they boycotted classes. On the first day of the new school year, secondary and university students began a school boycott. Riot police patrolled stations of the city's railway network, and protesters blocked the train doors from closing, causing delays and throwing the morning rush hour into chaos. Police were seen arresting at least one group of protesters. The Monday's class boycott was accompanied by a call for a general strike. Now, this comes following a tense weekend marked by some of the most violent clashes of the last 3 months of protests. The shift of the protest to school campuses comes after Chinese officials blamed the protest on the city's liberal education curriculum. And India is celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi today. The festival marks the birth of Lord Ganesh, who is a symbol of wisdom, prosperity, and good fortune as well. The day also marks the beginning of the 10-day-long festival in which devotees bring the idols of Lord Ganesh in their homes and also celebrate the festivals in pandals. President Rajnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have greeted the people on the occasion. In a Twitter message, President Rajnath Kovind wished peace, happiness and prosperity for every citizen. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also greeted the people on the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. He hoped that the festival will bring peace, harmony and prosperity into the country. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also wished people on the occasion. And with the wishes of a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi, we'll leave you with the visuals of the celebrations. Thanks so much for watching.